Welcome to the world of Pokemon. I'm the average Weeb, but you can call me the Pokemon Professor of the YouTube region. On today's episode of Who's That Pokemon, we have a rare specimen from Hunter x Hunter called Killua Zoldyck, and I'll be examining his personality and abilities to assign him types, a nature, an ability, and his 4 moves. But first, to keep people off my back, let's start with Killua's type. Growing up as a member of the Zoldyck family, Killua was trained from a young age to become an assassin. His family saw him as a prodigy and had high hopes for him, but Killua wanted to live his own life and left home. His assassin training stayed with him, though, causing a number of people to make remarks about his dark side. At Heaven's Arena, Sadaso said that Killua's eyes reflected his underworld affiliation, and after Killua passed the Hunter exam, Netero called him a denizen of darkness. Although he's trying to leave that world behind him, Killua carries it with him, earning him a dark typing. But Killua isn't only a dark type. When developing his special ability to pass the Greed Island player screening, he decided to infuse his aura with electricity, which was made possible by his assassin training. As a transmuter, he can change his aura into electricity on his own, but he can generate more power if he charges up first by electrocuting himself. That said, his Nen ability makes it easy to give him a second type of electric. Next will be the ability, since that's the easy one. Killua's assassin training granted him several perks. The first one we learn about comes when he willingly takes Tampa's poison juice. Killua reveals that poisons don't affect him. Lucky for us, there's the ability Immunity, which gives immunity to poison. Let's move on to the most difficult part, the nature. The biggest clue we get for this is Killua's sweet tooth. This is revealed when Killua said he spent all his Heaven's Arena money on chocolate his first time there. This narrows down the natures to timid, hasty, jolly, naive, and serious. Technically, serious is a neutral nature, but it still deals with the sweet flavor, so I'm including it. Of these, the most fitting word for Killua's personality is serious. At least, that's what he shows. Remember that he's a transmuter, and Hisoka said that transmuters are whimsical and prone to deceit. Killua agrees with this assessment after he learned that he's a transmuter himself. This would indicate that Killua wasn't agreeing that Hisoka fit the description, but that Killua himself fits the description. With that in mind, we can rule out serious. So if the serious nature is a deceitful facade, that leaves us with timid, hasty, jolly, and naive. We can find Killua's true nature through process of elimination from here. The last word you'd think of when describing Killua is naive, so we can cross that one off. Given his cruel upbringing with assassin training, it's hard to imagine Killua being jolly. Bisky even said it was amazing that he could smile after what he went through in order to transmute his aura into electricity. Because of this, we should be safe crossing off jolly. This leaves us with timid and hasty. Killua is careful and analytical, and it has been drilled into his head that he should avoid any fight that he doesn't already know he can win. Because of his training, the last thing he's going to do is rush into a fight. He plans carefully, and when he fights one of the bombers in Greed Island, he claims that every move he makes is a trap. Considering this, we can cross off hasty. That means that Killua must be timid, but you may not accept that just by saying that he can't be any of the other sweet-loving natures. Timid is defined as lacking in self-assurance, courage, or bravery, easily alarmed, timorous, or shy. These features don't show themselves often, but when they do, we're seeing the true Killua behind his facade. Killua tends to keep himself closed off to people, preferring to put on his strong, serious front and acting generally disinterested. When this front breaks, it usually has to do with one of 2 factors, Gon or Illumi. When Gon is involved, it's Killua's shyness that shows. Gon is prone to wearing his emotions on his sleeve, and he has no filter when speaking of his feelings. Whenever Gon compliments Killua or comments on how good a friend he is, this breaks Killua's strong front, making Killua remark on how Gon's openness is embarrassing to him. Killua having this facade at all is also an act of his shyness. He tries to avoid people by making himself less approachable. So it's clear that he fits the shy part of timid, but what about the rest of it? To show Killua's lack of self-assurance, courage, or bravery, and his ease of alarm, we have to look to his older brother Illumi. As I said before, Killua was always taught to avoid a fight he can't win. This teaching was Illumi's doing. He even went as far as to implant a needle in Killua to force him to follow this teaching. At his first exposure to Ren, Killua expresses pure terror and continues to react to it by running away until he learns to defend himself with Ten. Even after this, Illumi's teaching keeps showing itself from the needle's influence. Whenever Killua is facing off against a particularly strong enemy, he shows his fear openly. Bisky calls him out on this, saying that he fights on the premise of escaping when facing such an enemy. This stops after Killua finds and removes Illumi's needle, but he continues to be cautious, showing his fear in much more subtle ways. It took a while, but this was enough to convince me that Killua truly is timid in nature. Now that we have Killua's types, nature, and ability, we can assign him his 4 moves. Let's give him those moves in the order he learned them. The first 2 were learned at some point during Killua's assassin training, and we don't know the order. So for those, we'll assign them in the order they were revealed to us. The first skill he shows us is at the start of his game against Netero in the airship. Killua uses his Rhythm Echo, an application of the Shadow Step that creates afterimages of the user to confuse enemies. In Pokemon terms, Rhythm Echo is Double Team. Next we see Killua's Claw. He manipulates his hand to make his fingers sharp as knives. He first uses this to kill the pair of random guys he bumped into after he lost his temper at Netero's game. He later uses it to tear out Jonah's heart, and then explains it to Kurapika and the others. This claw is a useful weapon to Killua, even after he learns Nen, and can be used for Pokemon moves like Night Slash. Speaking of Nen, Killua's other 2 moves come from his Nen abilities. We've already established Killua as part electric type from these abilities, and while he displayed a couple of moves during the Greed Island arc, those were just prototypes for what he later used against the Chimera Ants. I'll be giving Killua the advanced version of these moves, starting with the signature electric attack, Thunderbolt. This is an extension of his Lightning Palm, which would be a parallel to Thundershock. Once he was able to fire his Thunderbolt, Killua stopped using the Lightning Palm, so we can treat that as forgetting it to make room for a new move. The fourth of Killua's abilities to turn into a Pokemon move is his Godspeed. Electrical impulses from his aura allow his body to react instantly without Killua needing to think about it, greatly increasing his speed. He first used this ability to let off some steam on Yuppie, saving Knuckle in the process. He directly attacked Yuppie when using it, but has since only used it to evade enemies and escorts. Even though it isn't an electric attack, I think the best move to give for Godspeed is the normal type Extreme Speed. And there you have it. Killua Zoldyck is now a Pokemon. Let's check out the results. He's a dark electric type with a timid nature. His ability is Immunity, and he knows Double Team, Night Slash, Thunderbolt, and Extreme Speed. Now that's a Pokemon I want on my team. Thanks for watching, everyone, and if you liked what you saw, you can prove it with the buttons below. You know the ones. You can also subscribe by clicking my face. Speaking of my face, I'm also on Facebook. There you can keep up to date with my next video progress, chat with me, or make recommendations. That link is in the description. Until next time, this has been The Average Weeb. Johnny.